What is going on, YouTubers, gamers and hobbyists? Welcome to Topical Tuesday. This is the series where we take a topic and we talk about it. It's as simple as that. And there's been some great responses from these, so I'm quite excited to do another one. And in this Tuesday, I would like to talk about cooperative games. So, are cooperative games for you, or are you a everyone for themselves type of person? Now, traditionally, for many years into adulthood, I've always played, player versus player, saying I suppose my first, I've always played player versus player and been very competitive, but saying that, my first experience of a cooperative game that I can think of would be in the form of Dungeons and Dragons, the role-playing game, because for the most part, role-playing games are cooperative, are they not? You're in a party, you're working towards a singular cause, although you may all each have your own agendas. But for me, I suppose my first one was D&D. Saying that, my first arcade experience, first arcade game, co-op game that I ever played was Gauntlet, which was 4 players. Do you remember that? The arcade cabinet with the 4 joysticks on, and it was on a school trip to Bath, and it was on one of the service stations along the way, and we might have done it on the way back as well. We'd never seen or heard it before, and we chatted about it incessantly for a long time after, so, good memories there. Now, I can remember trying to get my head around the whole co-op thing. I was like, wow, co-op in a computer game, essentially. That is amazing. And we just chatted for hours and hours. We're supposed to be talking about the historical baths and whatever, but what we were interested in, our group, was the game Gauntlet, and who had done the best. And one of us was obviously, there was a wizard and a warrior, an elf, and Valkyrie, I think, like a female warrior. Now, keeping on the subject of my childhood, my friend and I had this massive rivalry between us, and particularly in the following games: Monopoly, Escape from Colditz, Go for Broke, Totopoly, Game of Dracula, and Game of Life. These are board games, of course. Unfortunately, Hero Quest came along just a little too late for me. By the time I got it, we were well into our own separate lives, having left school, and these former games, Monopoly in particular, became more about who could out-cheat the other one. That's the memory I have of my childhood. My friend Chris, it was who could cheat the best and get away with it. We were just kids, and it was hilarious, hiding money and adding a couple of extra houses on when we thought you would notice, and just crazy stuff. Now, my immediate family's first experience of a co-op game was the classic Zombicide, which we actually played before Lord of the Rings, which was something that I literally had to dig out of the attic, so I just brought it with me wherever I went. Personally, I'm happy to live in these times, because I feel kind of spoiled with all the, not just co-op games, but games in general that are available now, and I'm thankful that there are organisations around, such as Dice Tower, Board Game Geeks, that can help us navigate this massive assortment. So, of course, not everybody's into board games, so thinking of cooperative wargaming means teams, which is how we can cooperate with other players against another team, of course. And I think in Warhammer, the big one is Apocalypse, isn't it? But of course, that can be just played with 2 players. But it's an easy game to do in teams, is it not? My first experience of a co-op war game was at my local gaming club in an ACW game, American Civil War, and we were using black powder rules, as I recall. I wasn't that much help to my team, if memory serves. I ended up with my unit becoming pinned down by enemy fire in a wooded area, so I really wasn't much help on that. One of the things that I really like about co-op games is that they can be played solo because of the cooperative mechanics that are in the game, and I feel co-op games are the way forward when it comes to board games particularly. It brings people together. I don't get me wrong, I like the competitive element. I don't mind them if the games are short. if it's player versus player, I don't mind if the game is relatively short, because you can set up a game for, like, I don't know, for instance, I don't know, who tidies up or who does the dishes or whatever. I'll play this quick game of this, winner takes all, and loser has to do the tidying or the vacuuming or whatever. You can do little forfeits like that, but for the longer games, I feel personally that co-op is where it's at. I'd like to know your thoughts. Do you prefer cooperative games, or do you prefer just the competitiveness of one-on-one, or every man for himself, or every person for themselves? Is that what you prefer? For me personally, I prefer co-op. It feels more unified, more like a bonding session, And that's not to say arguments don't ensue, because we can still argue, or we can argue the heck out of things, but we're playing for a common cause, and that's what we enjoy. Let me know what you think. I'd be very, very interested to know your thoughts on this subject. So pop them down below, and I'll have a good old read of those and look forward to that. So until next week, I will say, remember, all brushes lead to all. Stay safe, be well, be kind, and I'll see you on the next video. All lives unite.